Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Mercy. Today guys, we are going to learn how to make this beautiful hip and butt padding. You can see how beautiful it is looking. Yeah, we are going to learn how to make it, starting from the drafting to the cutting out and also to the sewing. If you're interested in learning this beautiful class, just keep watching, okay?
Cut and sew with mercy, the best in fashion, a good tutor, that bringing out the zeal and passion for fashion.
So guys, I have my pattern paper here, and I've gone ahead to mark out by the side here 2.5 inches, and I've also uh mark on the starting point 1.5 inches. You can go ahead and rule out 2.5 inches as well on this starting point, but I have my reasons because I won't be going up too much. This pattern of or pant tutorial is going to be different from the ones I have been teaching here, because I said before, if you have been watching my pant tutorial, I have 4 different type of cutting a pant here. So this one is not going to be, this one is going to be the another style of cutting a pant, and which is necessary in this type of hip and butt padding. Okay, but if you know how you draft your pant, just go ahead and draft it. So what I'm just going to do from that place, I'm just going to measure down to get my hip line, my crotch length or crotch depth, and also the length of the short we are making. This is going to be a tight, like tight inner wear. So get your hip length, hip or crotch length, and also your short length. If you like, you add your hemming allowance, but I'm going to be adding my hemming allowance while cutting the fabric. All right, so if you don't know how to get your crotch length, your hip divide by 4, that is your crotch length or crotch depth. Your hip divide by 4, whatever it gives you, mark it as the length of your crotch length or crotch depth. I'm just going to go ahead and rule it across like this. Okay, so guys, after ruling it out, this is what I have. I have my hip line, my crotch length, and my PL, which means pants length. On the upper part is going to be the waist measurements. Okay, so now the next thing I'm just going to do on this crotch length, I'm just going to add my crotch depth measurement. So what I'm just going to do on this crotch length, which is the CL, is to add the fabric I'm using, like that foam that I'm using. If it is half inches foam, I'm just going to multiply it by 4, because we are going to be having 4 pieces. Okay, if you are using a foam of half inch to pad, multiply it by 4. Then if it is half inch, multiply it by 4, making 2. Add that 2 to your hip measurement and divide it by 4. So that is what I just have as the horizontal measurement. I put it there from the crotch length to the waist measurement. Okay, now the next thing I'm just going to go ahead to do is to get my crotch extension. To get the crotch extension, I'm just going to divide my normal hip measurement divide by 20. Okay, hip measurement divide by 20. If you know how you cut your pants, please go ahead and do so. So I just mark it there. My hip divide by 20, I have 2 inches there. I mark out 2 inches. Now I mark 1.5 on the diagonally, like so, to curve out the slanty curvy shape for the crotch extension. You know that crotch extension does not really need to be too curvy, so you can see the slanty way. That is why I mark 1.5 diagonally like this to curve it out. My hip for the front divide by 20. I get my 2 inches, I mark out my 2 inches and curve it out like so. So guys, let's going. Now the next thing I'm just going to go ahead to do is to measure from that place. I'll measure inward of my waist measurement. I measure it backward like this. I got my waist measurement going to the hip area. I mark. Now I'm just going to connect whatever I measured out, my actual hip waist measurement. I'm just going to connect it straight down to me to the hip line. Okay, Now, having done that, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead to do is to come down by 3 inches beneath the crotch length to get my thigh measurement. You know, if you are talking about thigh measurement, we are talking about our lap measurement. So your lap divide by 2. I got my lap measurement divide by 2. I have 12. That 12, I am just going to get the center point, midpoint of this trouser, of this short trouser, and divide that 12 half inch, like add half 6 inches on this side and 6 inches on this side. Okay, so now having marked my thigh measurement, I'll come back to that. On this side, I'm just going to come in with 4 inches for my dart measurement. I mark 4 inches there. Now, to get the midpoint of this short, I'm going to measure my crotch extension like this. My crotch line, whatever I have there, I'm going to divide it by 2. That crotch line, so I have my midpoint. I'm gonna ahead to mark there. Now the next thing is to rule it across. So I'm just going to use my ruler to rule it across for me to get the center point, like the midpoint of this short pants. Okay, having done that, I'm just going to divide that 12 inches that I have for my lap measurement. The 12 inches, like my lap measurement is 24, divide by 2 making 12. That 12, I'm just going to divide it again on this midpoint. I'll mark 6 inches on this side and 6 inches on the other line. That is why I told you that I have not thought about this type of pants or tutorial before. Okay, if you love this, just don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, now I'm just going to go ahead and connect it from the crotch extension down to the thigh measurements like this. You can see what I just connected. Now, after doing that, the next thing for me to go ahead to do is to sorry guys, let's continue. I'm just going to take this midpoint down to this place, okay, to the PL, which is the trouser or the pants length. Okay, now on that pants length, I'm just going to get the round circumference of the pants length, like the trouser length, divide it by 2. Whatever I have, I'm just going to divide it again on this midpoint. Now there is something I want to show you guys. If you're shaping this round circumference of your pants length or your trouser length, if you're shaping it and that shape is giving you one kind curvy look like this, you can see what I just mark out here. Now watch to this side, to the hip line like this, sorry, to the hip area. You can see that the curve is not giving, like that shape I'm just marking there is not giving. If you like, you can leave it like so. So if you have a little, like, if that shape is not giving you what you really want, just go ahead and erase it, like clean it up like you see me doing. Mark it straight. Mark starting from your lap measurement down to the short pant measurement. Just mark, connect the lines straight to the hemming part. Also clean this side as well and connect it in just a slanty curvy way. So you don't need to stress yourself while shaping it, but if you are shaping it on your fabric, go ahead and shape it very well so that it's going to be tight on the length. I hope you understand what I just show you now. Okay guys, so the next thing I'm just going to go ahead to do is to mark 1 inch on the waistline, coming to the hip area. I'm just going to go ahead and mark same 1 inch, then coming to the trouser length or the short length of the pants, I'm just going to go ahead and mark half inch. So if you like, you don't need to add your allowance on this paper. If you like, you can add it while cutting your fabric. Okay, but I just added a little there, like what I later on added there is just half an inch, starting from the waist down to the pants length. I just mark half inch instead of 1 inch. So while cutting on my fabric, I'll still go ahead and add extra half inch on this side part of the crotch area, I mark just 0.3 inches. Now from this um crotch curved, I'm just going to come down with 0.5 inches, that is half an inch, and slant it to meet to the hip center line like so. So I just came down with half an inch. You can see now the front is just ready. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it, guys. Please guys, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit on the notification bell. Give us a thumbs up if you like what we do here, okay?
Cut, how to sew and how to draft. DIY, crafting out styles and well detailed.
So guys, this is what I have another paper there, and this is where your tracing wheel is going to come in. Like, I was looking for my tracing wheel, I don't even know where I kept it. So let's continue, guys, don't mind me. I just went ahead to place my front paper or the front pattern on another paper. As you can see here, just pin it down. So the next thing I'm just going to do, we are trying to draft out the back pattern. Okay, now what I'm just going to go ahead to do is to measure, divide the our that measurement, which is 4 inches. I got the midpoint and mark it there. From that midpoint, I went up with just 0.6 inches. You can go up with 1 inch, you can go up with 2 inches, depending how big your hip is. If your hip is just 36, just go up with 0.5 inches or 0.6 inches. Okay, now having done that, the next thing I did is to divide my, to get my crochet extension, I just divide my hip measurement by 10. So I have it for there. Then from that crotch, from the front crotch extension, I measured out 4 inches. So I would have ruled that, I would have curved that crotch, the back crotch extension on top of the front paper, then use my tracing wheel to trace it out. But because I did not see my tracing wheel, I'm just going to indicate where the lines of what I just marked is. Like this place I'm marking now is where the front crotch extension started, and that is where I started measuring my crotch extension, measuring my 4 inches. Now having done that, from the midpoint I came in, that is where I'm just going to start to measure back my waist measurement. So you see now, my waist measurement, I just measured it back instead of measuring front. From that that measurement, I divided by 2. From the center point, I measured back my waist measurement and mark it there. Okay, you can see what I'm just doing. So it's going to be looking slanty. Then I connected it, starting from the 0.6 inches, I went up down to the place you are looking at right now. So the next thing I did on that hip back center front, I just marked 0.5 inches like what I did on the front. But remember, I am using the front to cut the back. The back is going to be a little bit bigger than the front, just know that. Okay, now having done that, the next thing I'm just going to do, after carving it out like so, I'm just going to remove this front, then trace out what I just marked on the paper to get my back clutch. But if I'm having my tracing wheel, I would have marked my clutch on this front paper, then use my tracing wheel to trace out everything here. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about, but if you don't understand this back, go ahead and mark and draft your back the way you draft your pant. It is not a must that you're going to follow my own way of cutting a pant. Oh, I'm just saying it now so that nobody should come and be telling me this or that. Okay, so the next thing I just did is to just go ahead and cut it out. All right, then after cutting out, remember I dotted out on that crotch area. I'm just going to go ahead, dot it out like so, and remove the front. Then I'm just going to go ahead and use my ruler to curve the clutch length in a slanty way like so. When you need your tracing wheel, you will not see it. But when you will not need that tracing wheel, or you're going to be seeing it everywhere. I don't know if this thing is happening to someone. when you need something you will not find it, but when you don't need it you'll be seeing it everywhere. Ah ah. So guys, this is how I just went ahead connecting the back clutch like this. Okay.
Tutorials. Her hands are blessed and her 10 fingers create beautiful magic. Mercy, sharing out her own knowledge of fashion for others to learn freely. Her teaching bring clear understanding to tailors, designers, and seamstress.
So guys, I'm just blending it, then marking it down. I'm just going to go ahead and add just um a little allowance on this side part like so, but while cutting on the fabric I'm still going to go ahead and add my allowance because the allowance I have at the back is not enough for me. So this is what I have. We are done with the drafting of the front and also the back. I'm just going to go ahead and cut out that half inch intake I took on the upper part of the front, and it is also on the back part because I use the front to draft out the back. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out the half an inch. Now let's get to the cutting table for the fabric. Now I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut the front out like so. So if I'm cutting on this side, you can see that I'm adding half inch for my clutch joining, okay, for the joining allowance. So the reason why I'm just adding all these inches, all these same allowance is because it is better for you to have same allowance than to be shorting. If after sewing this and you notice that is very very free for you, go ahead and shape it out. Now on the down part I'm just going to add my hemming allowance on the down part, and on the upper part remember I'm still going to fold the upper edge, so I did not add it on this fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a little on this upper part for me to be able to hem the part. And remember, on this area I am still going to add zipper allowance, so make sure you add enough allowance for your own. Okay, from the crotch line add enough allowance for your zipper. All right, after hemming you add your zipper allowance. This has a zipper allowance. All right, unless you are putting elastic, I don't know for you. Now the next thing is to cut the back. Remember that the back is going to be having that zipper. I'm going to also add allowance that I know that is going to be okay for me on this particular part, which is the curvy or clutch length or clutch line. I will add the allowance I know that is going to be enough for me. So the allowance I added that is going to be enough for me. Remember I have added allowance earlier on this paper, so it's going to be enough for me for my zipper for the back. Okay, so that is how I just went ahead to cut this. Now after cutting, let's head over to draft out our curvy hip padding, the hip padding we are talking about. All right, now I have that pattern paper. You can see that I'm done with the cutting of the fabric. Now the front, from this side I'm just going to measure in 4 inches for my dart intake. Your dart intake, your nipple to nipple, your dart intake, sorry, your dart intake. Okay, mine is 4 inches. Your nipple to nipple divide by 2, so mine is 4 inches. So I just rule it across like this. From this part I just came down with half an inch. On the center front part I just came down, sorry, on the hip side part I came down by half. Now from this place I'm just going to measure down the length of my underbutt. You can see the picture I am putting here. Measure from your waist down to your underbutt. Whatever the length is, you mark it down. Okay, so I have mine to be 13.5, but I mark 14 inches in case if the joining is shortened. So I'm just going to connect it to the underbutt length I just mark. So if you watch that picture I put on the thumbnail here on the screen, you will see what I just explain as the underbutt. From your low waist you measure down. Now I am done with the front. Next is just the back. I'm going to measure in 2 inches starting from this clutch area. I'll mark in 2 inches here. Now do the same thing that I did on the front by coming down with half an inch on this other side part. I'll come down with half an inch. Now after coming down, I'm just going to go ahead and mark the length of my underbutt, which is 14 inches. Then I'll mark that half an inch I just talked about right now. Now remember, I'm just going to go ahead and start to curve it out. Sorry if you're not seeing the picture clearly, but it's going to be clear soon. Now I'm just going to be connecting. The reason why I'm just marking that, I will just mark out that 2 inches inward, is because for you not to pass through that 2 inches. Same things goes to the 4 inches I came in on the front. Now coming to this down part of the back, make it a little bit curvy, slanty. You know that our back buttock has this curve shape at the down part. Okay, so if you watch the down part I'm talking about, let me take it a bit. This particular place, yes, you can see that I went in a little bit. It is not that too curved. I went in a little bit to make it slanty, then take it up like this. Okay, so make sure your own is a little bit curvy on the back, slanty curvy. I don't even know how to explain it, but if you watch the shape of the back and front, they are not the same like that. So I'm just going to label my down, my up for the back, and also the down and up for the front. And guys, I'm just going to be stopping here. Okay, I am going to teach us how to join this together and also how to sew it on your tights or on your pants. Okay, on your pants. All right, so please, if you love what we do here, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and don't forget to like this or share this video. Okay, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. See you on the sewing tutorial class. Till then guys, bye for now. And if you have any question, please drop it in the comment section. Okay.